Hey, everybody, it's Scott Steen with winnersandwhiners.com coming to you with the Tuesday edition of Today in Sports Betting. Taking a look at a couple of college basketball games today. Scott, how did we do yesterday on that NFL game?
Not too well. Not too well. But I'll tell you what, though, that game was – do you think that was game of the year?
You know, everybody's saying it is. I mean, I guess if you like offense and, the back and forth slugfest,
Lamar leaving for about a quarter just to come back. And
I guess so, yeah, the Willis Reed moment there, although I don't really know what was wrong with him. Did we ever hear what officially was wrong with him?
According to Lamar after the game, he had stomach cramps.
Okay.
Yep.
That's terrific. What a gamer. It was a good game. It certainly, because it meant a lot, and it was Cleveland. Cleveland is so going to Cleveland, aren't they, bud?
Well, I said that before the game that I don't think Cleveland's defense is very good. I know Myles Garrett getting injured definitely hurt their cause because they had no pass rush after that. But
yeah,
it's just a matter of Cleveland's offense is good. Their defense, for the most part, is average at best whenever they face good teams. And considering the fact that Lamar had about, what do you have, 40 passing yards at the half?
Oh, yeah.
And if they still gave up 28 points or so, or
yeah,
21 points, it just wasn't a good look for Cleveland when the other team is running the ball every play. You know that they're running the ball every play, and you still can't stop it.
Yeah, it was a shameful performance by both of those defenses, really. Just absolutely dreadful performances on both sides of the ball. It was a good game. It was tight there in the fourth quarter, but honestly, Scott, it was a good first quarter. Baltimore kind of pulled away for the second and third quarter, and then let Cleveland back in there by their lack of competent quarterback play when Jackson went out. So I don't know. I probably would have been a lot more excited about it if it would have gone our way.
Did you find that timing very, very sketchy? That McSorley absolutely snaps his knee, and then as soon as he snaps his knee, Lamar just comes right out of the tunnel? I'm assuming that was pure coincidence, but I found it was really weird because I'm looking over and I'm thinking, who does Baltimore have as a quarterback? Because, of course, RG3 is now on the IR.
Right.
I couldn't even think of who was going to come into the game. So McSorley gets injured, and I'm thinking, who do they have for this 4th and 5? And then I know I was like, oh, Lamar's back. I'm like, really? He came back right now when the backup snapped his leg?
I thought that as soon as I saw it was going to be the 2-minute warning. I'm like, he's going to come out. He's going to come. They're going to give him time. He's going to come out of the locker room and take the field, and that's exactly what happened. So yeah, it was and I will hand it to him. That was an excellent play call. That was an excellent play call for the guy that had been suckering him into runs all night long to run for it on 4th and 5. It just seemed logical, and it looked like he had it wide open to run anyway, and then to let Hollywood get behind the defense there.
So what do you think was more impressive, Lamar coming back, the play call on 4th down, or Hollywood Brown actually catching the ball?
The play call.
Yeah.
Nothing else is entirely unexpected.
I'm just teasing with Hollywood Brown, but he was brutal for 3 quarters.
He was. That was him and Andrews both had some problems catching the football.
Well, Andrews had that big play before the end of the second quarter, so he already made an impact. I don't even remember Brown catching a pass. I remember him dropping like 4 of them.
Yeah, he was not good. And that whole receiving core, let's be honest, neither one of those teams are going anywhere. They're just not.
I think Cleveland's not, because I think that defense is atrocious. I think Baltimore is one of those teams that shouldn't go anywhere, but if you end up getting a really, really bad weather game, I actually think Baltimore can maybe sneak by somebody. Okay. But that would involve a lot of bad weather.
Well, and make no mistake, I think there's a lot of teams that Cleveland matches up with well.
Yeah.
And
Baker was good last night.
Yeah.
And the one interception, which was honestly a ridiculous play by Baltimore's linebacker, so I'm not even going to blame him for that one.
Yeah, agreed. And, I don't even get upset, about taking the beat there. We had a push. I know a lot of people were able to get 3.5 at the very end. So in a way, I feel worse for them because they were actually winning. Until that last play where we were sitting on a push, but you knew it was going to happen. You knew when they were setting up that way, and they just kept going backwards, you knew exactly what was going to happen, and that's exactly what happened. So,
Yep. Usually get a fumble recovery in the end zone, but a
yeah,
safety is a rare one.
Yeah, I was thinking they were going to lose by a touchdown for sure. So anyway, it was good, solid game. Certainly better than most of the Monday night games or Thursday night games that we've seen. So for that respect, it did kind of live up to the hype. You had two teams there that, with winning records, fighting for playoff spots, turned into a good, solid game. So.
Well, the biggest loser last night was Miami.
What's that?
The biggest loser last night was Miami.
Yeah, with Baltimore being able to reassert themselves.
Because Cleveland still has 9 wins. They still should get into the playoffs. I mean, of course, that basically clinches the Steelers winning the division, which I don't think Cleveland really had a real shot at even catching them in the first place. But Cleveland's going to get in anyway, barring a ridiculous collapse, but they play the Jets in week 15. So I think they play the Jets in week 16. So I think Cleveland will be fine. Because I'm bold call. I think Cleveland's going to beat the Jets. So looking at Baltimore, that was a must-win game. If Miami would have, survived a Cleveland victory there, I think Miami's going dancing. I think Baltimore's not. And now I have no choice but to believe that Miami's not going to make it because Baltimore's schedule, especially now that they play Washington, who might be forced to start Dwayne Haskins next week. Or not next week, sorry, 2 weeks from now because they play Jacksonville next week. Baltimore has such an easy schedule that they should probably end up with enough wins to get into the playoffs, right?
Yeah, so you're looking at the Colts.
Colts are getting in, so I'm not worried.
You're looking at the Colts and the Browns.
Yeah,
who are both sitting at 9-4. Then you've got the Ravens at 8-5, and you've got the Dolphins at 8-5.
Colts are getting in.
Dolphins have a gauntlet to run. Yeah,
Colts are getting in. Browns are getting in. Dolphins have some problems because they go week 17 against Buffalo. I don't think that Baltimore really has anyone left to play that's that hard at all. No. The toughest matchup that's left Washington.
Who's playing really good football right now with Alex Smith, however. But, yeah, like you said,
they might be down a quarterback, so I don't know.
If Smith is unable to go, they
play Jacksonville next week, so that's a joke. So they're going to win that one. They play Washington. I think they'll win that one. And then who do they play after that?
You're talking about Baltimore?
Yeah.
Let's see here. They've got the Baltimore is the Jags, the Giants, and the Bengals left.
They don't play Washington?
No.
I thought they did.
No.
Okay. Either way, play the Giants.
Yeah. The next team will be the 20th. So yeah, they've got the Jags, the Giants, and the Bengals there.
Yeah. So I was completely misinformed about Washington. So my bad. But either way, did the Giants have a quarterback? Because Daniel Jones clearly wasn't 100% last game, or at least I hope he wasn't because he was awful.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, they have as good a quarterback as they ever had.
I'm just saying, do you think it's worth a sprinkle to take Baltimore to make the playoffs?
I think Baltimore's a lock to make the playoffs.
I don't know about a lock, but I think they should be. Or if you don't have that option of potentially finding a good odds for Baltimore to make the playoffs, do an open parlay with all 3 games. Or just roll over money lines with those 3 games. I don't see Baltimore losing any of those 3.
No.
I mean, Cincinnati's a joke. Cincinnati's the second worst team in the league right now. The New York maybe with that defense, but that offense is just not it. And then you have the game against Jacksonville, and Minshew's back. No, Jacksonville's been trying to tank all year, besides week 1. So Baltimore's going to win all 3 games, and Miami still has to play Buffalo. So I think Miami's got serious problems.
Yeah, agreed. I can't imagine if you ran the schedules out for the last 3 games. I can't imagine anybody having an easier schedule than Baltimore.
Yeah,
I don't think that's possible. So. All right. Well, and of course, we'll be talking more about the NFL as it gets closer because, Scott, we got Saturday NFL this week too.
Yes, we do. We have a thrilling matchup between Carolina and Green Bay. We also have another game before that, which I can't remember.
Yeah, I know. There's always I kind of like the Saturday doubleheaders. I think that's fun. I always like it when there's like bad weather on Saturday night and get that snow game.
I'm okay with Saturday football, just not in the middle of college football conference title Saturday. I think that's
it's kind of weird. It usually they usually start at the week after the Army-Navy game, which is usually a standalone game because everybody else is done playing and they get it going before bowl season. And
I just think that's a bad scheduling spot there. I know most people watch the NFL anyway, but I'll probably be watching college.
Depends on the game, but yeah, I agree. All right, so let's take a look tonight. We got a full card of college basketball, Scott. Not a ton that I'm excited about, though. I got to be honest with you. We've got a couple of decent conference battles there between with top 15 teams involved. So we'll take a spin. But I know this is definitely an obscure pick. What was your play of the day today?
I was on a matchup between Tennessee and Appalachian State.
Okay, yeah, that's right. You told me about that. All right. So, and I've got and I took, of course, the Kansas State Iowa State game as my play of the day. Let's talk a little bit about this. The Minnesota Golden Gophers there against the fighting Illini of Illinois. Illinois -8 at home. You know, Scott, this is an Illinois team that I really thought was going to do good things. I thought that
you could still feel that way. I mean, they have one loss to Baylor.
They got a loss to Mizzou too, my friend.
Oh no, but I'm saying I don't think that was that bad of a loss. I think Mizzou's just very, very underrated.
Well, yeah, and finally they're getting some love. I think they're 16 in this week's poll.
They should be. I mean,
Missouri's
been really good.
Mm-hmm. They have indeed. That was a big game against Illinois that I didn't really think Mizzou was going to be able to hang with them. I thought Mizzou had kind of been doing it against inferior competition.
I saw the spread. Spread was around Mizzou +2.5, +3, so I just kind of assumed Mizzou would win the game.
Well, you were certainly right. In Illinois, so far, they really haven't beaten anybody, Scott. That's the problem with this team is they've got the two times that they've played good teams. Of course, we could count Duke, although I don't know why you would at this point. Duke not playing well at all. They do have a convincing win over Duke, but they've got a loss to Baylor. They've got a loss to Mizzou. They did hang tight with Baylor for about a half, I suppose. But yeah, then they have just dreadful wins. North Carolina A&T, Chicago State, Ohio. Terrible teams, just terrible teams. And perhaps the problem of a little preview of problems on the horizon, Scott, is they struggled with Ohio as a 16-point favorite, winning by just 2 there.
Well, in comparison, I think Illinois has had a tougher schedule than Minnesota up to this point.
Minnesota's just have played absolutely nobody. They played Wisconsin, Green Bay. They played Loyola Marymount twice. North Dakota, they played Boston College, was the only remotely competent team that they played.
Yeah, and they needed overtime.
They needed overtime. They didn't cover the number. They were 6.5-point favorites.
When you say they won somewhat respectable game, Boston College is 1-5.
Well, I'm just saying from
big. I know you meant big conference. I know you meant ACC big conference. I'm just saying that when we're talking about name brand, we're just throwing it out there. Boston College is also 1-5. So that win doesn't mean much either.
No, it doesn't. And then they finish up with their last game was against UMKC, which is just a perennial terrible team. They've been Division I for about 20 years now and have never made the tournament. Never. I think they've made the conference final one time. So when I say they are a bad team, I mean they are a horrible, horrible team. And it sucks because it'd be great to have a local basketball team that was good. That would be so much fun to go down there. They play in a small arena, and it would be a great environment. But they're just awful all the time. So, so who you got here, Scott? It looks like this the line is going to be Illinois -8. They certainly appear to be the more talented team on paper. Of course, Minnesota, coached by none other than Little Pitino. Petit Pitino.
Yeah, sounds pretty good. I mean, I prefer the name Richard, but that works too. Petit Pitino does have a nice ring to it.
So, who you got here? Which one of these underachievers is Illinois finally going to show up?
I'm taking Illinois. I can't take Minnesota. In addition to the fact that all 6 games have come against inferior competition, they've also yet to play a road game this year. Illinois might have lost to Missouri over the weekend. It was a very close game. It came down to the wire. They also played that game on the road. Before that, they played Duke on the road. They haven't played at home since December 2nd. I think they'll be pretty pumped up for this one. It's the first conference game of the year. They get to play at home. They face off against a Minnesota team that basically has 1.5 good players, looking at Marcus Carr and Liam Robbins. Now, Carr is a tremendous guard. He's averaging 23.8 points per game, 6.2 assists. He's great. But I also am aware that Sun Woo, I think, is a little bit better. So I think they kind of cancel each other out. Robbins is pretty solid as well. He ended up transferring from Drake. He's had a pretty good year. I don't think he's as good as Coburn. And then I think you have both Gotch. His first name is Both. That's a fun fact. I don't think I've ever actually seen that as a first name before in my life. but you have him versus Miller on Illinois, and I think Miller's better. So I think if you look at these teams, the issue I have is that Minnesota is kind of just coasted against lesser competition. Illinois might have lost a game or two, but at least they faced some tougher competition. So I think they'll be able to handle this game at home. I like Illinois.
Yeah, this is an Illinois team that for all their faults, they're still a very, very good shooting team, shooting almost 54% from the field, including over 44% from downtown. Minnesota is just an average offensive team and a pretty average defensive team as well. They don't shoot well from downtown, and I think that could be the difference in this one. I got no choice. Minnesota heading out on the road for the first time. I think that I think 8's a pretty good number, but I think there could be just a little bit of meat left on the bone there. I think Illinois takes this one by somewhere in the 10 to 12 range.
So I have a question that I wanted to ask you just generally about college basketball this year.
All
So
right.
I know usually when you see long road trips and you finally get to return home, it's a big boost because you have the fans there and everything like that.
Right.
Do you think it's still a huge boost because of the fact that you're still surrounded by familiar surroundings, or you think it's
Yeah.
not as important as people make it out to be?
It's not as important as it was in years past, but it's still a big boost. There's a lot to be said for familiarity.
Yeah.
You're playing in a gym that you're comfortable with. You're sleeping in your own bed. And this season there's probably an element of safety. You probably feel safer at home.
Just saying because I haven't played at home in basically 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I agree. No, I agree with you. I think that's a big factor, and I had it, baked into my prediction there. So,
Cool.
I'd like to see something that I like about the Gophers, but until I see them against some kind of, I don't know, even second tier competition, I think that 6-0 is fool's Gophers gold right now. That's
Knowing Richard Pitino's teams either barely make the tournament or they don't make the tournament at all, so I expect them to kind of fall apart in conference play.
Kind of what they do, and they've got Minnesota kind of has a gauntlet here coming up, buddy. They got Illinois, they've got St. Louis, and then they've got Iowa. So, and then on top of that, they have Michigan State. So
that's 4 losses right there.
You got to think it is. Of course, Illinois is the only road game that they play. Apparently, this team never goes on the road.
No.
But yeah,
I still like St. Louis anyway.
That St. Louis team is that's a mighty fine team. I'm a big fan of the Billikens. We always talk about bringing back experience, especially in the those mid-major programs, and what a big deal that is. And nobody has more experience than St. Louis does.
Well, if you like experience, that whole conference in the A10 has a ton of experience.
Yeah.
You talk about we just talked about St. Louis. They bring back all 5 starters. I know that Richmond brought back all 5 starters. St. Bonaventure brought back all 5 starters. Duquesne brought back all 5 starters. That whole conference basically brought back their entire team from last year.
Yeah, and that's kind of what happens with mid majors. Those guys don't get the exposure that they do at other schools, and you have guys that are more likely to stick around for the full 4 years. So yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Any thoughts on the total here, bud?
I know money has come in on the under between these teams. I actually disagree with it. I would lean to the over.
Yeah,
Illinois still likes to play at a fast pace under Brad Underwood, who, of course, is an offensive guru. They play very fast. They take a lot of high-quality shots, play in transition a lot. And with Carr and company, I can't really see Minnesota saying no to playing in transition. I just think there's going to be too many possessions. I'll take the over.
Okay.
You?
Yeah, I got to lean over there too. I think Illinois, like I said, talking about capping the game itself as a side, I think the 3-point shooting is going to make the difference here, and I think they'll be able to push the total over. I think they're going to, as it so often happens, the better team is going to force the other team to play at their pace and take shots that they might not.
We saw that with the Iowa State-Iowa game over the weekend. Iowa State likes to play fast. Iowa likes to play fast.
Right.
The game was just a track meet.
Yeah.
So
what a horrific game that was for Iowa State, by the way.
Entertaining. Garza had scored 20 points in a row in the second half.
And what did he play, 15 minutes or something like that?
Something like that. He went another 12 for 13, 30 points. He's too good. But yeah, they scored 105 in that game.
Is that the best player in the country, Scott?
He's going to win Player of the Year. He's not going to go in the top 10 in the draft, but he'll go. He'll win the award.
I'll make you side bet there.
What? He'll go top 10? He's not going top 10.
He's going to go top 10.
I'm telling you, he's not going to.
Why do you say that?
He's just not athletic enough. If you watch him play against other quality big men who are athletic enough, he struggles to go up and down the court. I mean, he's gotten better than he was freshman year with his athleticism. I don't want to get into a full Luka Garza argument, but he's not going top 10. If you watch him play against high-quality big men or even just multiple big men like North Carolina, he really did not look good.
Yeah, you're drunk.
I'm telling you. You can look it up. It's just – I think he'll go first round. I don't think he's going to go top 10.
Okay. All right, we'll put a pin in that one, bud.
Yeah, we'll put a pin in it.
All right, let's take a look at this ACC game here between Georgia Tech and Florida State. Florida State is another team that's undefeated so far this year, Scott. They've got three games under their belt. They like playing teams from Florida. They played North Florida, who is a shadow of their former selves. I like that Ospreys team last year. This year, not so much. They have a victory over Indiana and a victory over Florida. Georgia Tech, they have a nice victory over Kentucky. Does that mean anything to you?
For Georgia Tech, I think it actually kind of does because Georgia Tech's been pretty underwhelming the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean anything based on how good the team is. Actually, I think it matters because I think Georgia Tech's now overrated because of that win over Kentucky. I don't think this team's very good. I've watched them play. I saw them beat Nebraska in their last game. Struggled for about, I don't even know, 30 minutes or so before they went on a run there. I think Nebraska's terrible.
Terrible team.
But I watched Georgia Tech. This team isn't very good either. So I think Georgia Tech, people are going to look at them and say they beat Nebraska. They beat Kentucky. Yeah. And it's just like, yeah, but you realize this team, if you watch them play, is just not very good. This team lost in triple overtime at home to Georgia State.
Yeah, this is also an 8-point spread on this one. This is a series that Florida State has just owned lately. Double-digit wins their last 3 meetings. Tristan Maxwell's out for Georgia Tech. I don't love that. I got nothing here with Georgia Tech. I'd like to find a counterbalance to the fact that I think Florida State's going to roll. I just can't find it. I think
Florida State's going to roll also.
Yeah, like I said, going to overtime against Georgia State. I mean, I guess you could forgive it because it's the first game of the season. But I just don't think this is going to be competitive.
I'm just throwing it out there that people are going to be talking about. Oh, they beat Kentucky and they beat Nebraska, and it's just like, yeah, but you realize both those teams aren't any good, and they lost earlier in the year in a game I don't remember what they were favored by, but I'm just saying that I don't think Georgia Tech's very good, and I feel like public perception's a bit high because they're overrating Kentucky again.
Yeah, well, they were an 8.5-point favorite at Georgia State, so.
It doesn't matter. It's like, oh, yeah, is Notre Dame now suddenly a very good team because they beat Kentucky? No, they're not a good basketball team this year.
The problem, and the other thing about Georgia State is, Georgia Tech, rather, they're just not a great 3-point shooting team.
No, they have one guy who I actually think is very good as a big man. Alvarado gets most of the reputation because he's been around for an eternity, and people kind of remember him as being this really, really short point guard. I don't think he's very good, but they have Wright, who's averaging 21.3 points per game and 10.0 rebounds per game. So he's very, very good. The only issue is that Florida State usually has several big men, and Georgia Tech has one. And plus, you look at Florida State's talent, they got Polite, they got Barnes, they got Walker, they got Gray. They really have a bunch of pieces here. It's just a surplus of talent for Florida State in comparison. I think they'll win this game by double digits. Yeah, this is another mismatch. I agree completely. I'd like to come on and instead of taking the square picks and taking the line on both of these games, laying the points. I got nothing. I don't see any path of victory here. Georgia Tech. For the record, by the way, sorry to interrupt. Georgia Tech. We talked about Kentucky and Nebraska. They lost to Georgia State in 4 overtimes. Game after that, they lost to Mercer at home by 10. We didn't even talk about that. I thought it was worth bringing up.
Yeah, that's true. As a 12-point favorite, they lose by Mercer. So
now Mercer's 6-0, but they're not. You know what I mean?
They're the Bears.
Yeah, it's just. I don't know how you're supposed to look at this and just go, well, this team did lose to Georgia State and Mercer at home, but they won their last 2 games. They're worthy of being within 8 points on the road against a top 15 team that just beat Florida and Indiana. I don't see it.
Yeah, and this is a team. This is a Georgia Tech team that's historically been not very good. They haven't been very good against good schools. They are 16-36 in the last 3 years, playing against teams with winning records, and against good offensive teams that average 77 or more. 3-15 over the last 3, Scott. So
Yeah, it's one of these games that even though the spread is a little bit high for a conference game, I'm going to lay I'm going to lay the 8. I mean, with Florida State, I'll make that official. I think they're going to win this game by double digits.
I agree. Any thoughts on the total?
Really, no. The total's dropped from 141 to 136. I feel like if I wanted the under, all values lost by now. So I'm just
agreed. I think under is the play, but I don't love it at 136.5. That's you're starting to get a little sketchy there. I think that
I think Florida State runs away with it.
But. Yeah, I mean, I think Florida State could put up 75-80 easily. Yeah. So that puts your under in trouble there. But I don't love it. I don't have enough confidence in Georgia Tech to take the over. So
I would probably lean over because I think Florida State will score 80.
Yeah.
So I think you're looking at maybe an 80-60 game, and congratulations, you still win the over. So
right. Yeah, I think that's right in there. So all right, there you go, guys. That's our look at these 2 games. I know that probably everybody else has their own favorites that are cooked up for today. So put them in the comment section. Let us know what you're on. I'm always curious on these wide open days what you guys have identified as where the value lies. And of course, we appreciate it as always if you like and subscribe to the channel, all that regular stuff. And don't forget to check out winnersandwhiners.com. Deep dives into every game every single day. Very, very good resource on days like this, Scott, with a lot of second and third tier basketball teams in play.
Besides that, it's not like you have anything you're really competing with for ratings. There's no football on, so you might as well watch whatever's on TV.
Yep, might as well watch a little basketball, get a little action going on these college basketball games. So, and I know a lot of you guys that played Cleveland last night need to make up some losses. So, yeah, this is a couple pretty good spots here to put your money. The Square brothers here are backing both the favorites. I just don't see a way around it at all.
I feel better about the Florida State one than I do about the Illinois one.
Yeah, Illinois have been a little more. I mean, that's more of a matchup. Minnesota's a bit more of an unknown. They've got the perfect record, but they haven't played anybody yet. So I guess it's possible they could.
Did you watch any of the Florida State-Florida game over the weekend?
No, I did not.
So, of course, the main storyline was Florida's best player collapsing, and now he's in a coma. So that's also him. But overall in the game, even though they continued to play it because Florida's teammates decided they wanted to keep playing, Florida State is so good. They are just a phenomenal team. They can attack the rim. They could shoot free throws. They're very good from the outside. Mm-hmm. They don't have as many 7-foot-tall guys as they have had in recent years, but this Florida State team is really good. And I feel like Leonard Hamilton always gets very good recruits. They'll probably end up making it to the Sweet 16 or something again. But this team is just very, very fun to watch. I think if you have time to watch them play, you probably should because this team's very good.
I'll have time tonight, so we'll take a spin on them tonight and see what happens. And they've got kind of an easy schedule coming up. They got Georgia Tech, and they have Central Florida, Gardner-Webb, and Duke. A team that claims to be from Duke. So yeah.
Anytime you have a top 10 projected prospect in the upcoming NBA draft, you got to watch him play. Scotty Barnes from Florida State, who had the game-winning shot against Indiana, had about 2 really, really disgusting poster dunks against Florida over the weekend. He's very, very good. So if you are talking about Georgia Tech, who has one guy who might get drafted because their main guy is actually pretty good, versus a Florida State team that's going to have a guy go in the top 10, barring injury, because Barnes is very good. They got a bunch of people who might get drafted because they have a lot of talent. You should probably watch them play. This team's very fun to watch.
Agreed. And it's Tuesday night. What else are you going to do?
Yep.
All right. That's going to do it for us, everybody. We appreciate you guys watching. Of course, as always, we hope every one of those tickets in your pocket turns into cash money back at the window. For myself, for Scott Reichel, for all of us over here at Winners and Winers, hope you guys have a great day. Good luck on all of your plays. And you know what? This has been so fun, Scott. We'll just we'll do it again tomorrow. What do you think?
Yeah, sounds good. I know we're going to have to figure out what we're doing with the schedule because, we're going to have to work some things around, but we'll definitely have at least one video tomorrow.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You guys have a great day. Thanks for watching. See you tomorrow. And, yeah. See you then. Bye-bye.